Hello, and welcome to the How to Choose Happiness and Freedom Show. I'm your host, Lauren Foster, happiness teacher and founder of Be Happy First. As a certified life mastery consultant, Masters of Wisdom and Meditation teacher, and primal health coach, I'm on a mission to help 1 million women learn to be happy and free on purpose, healthy, wealthy, and joyfully living life on your own terms. Happiness is a choice, and you can always choose to be happy first. Thanks so much for being here. Now on to today's episode. Yay! We are global. My guest today is coming to us all the way from Finland. I so totally love it. Satu Chantal Pitkamaki. I practiced and learned how to say her name. So welcome, Satu. Welcome, Chantal.
Thank you so much.
Chantal is what you like to go by, right?
Yes, it's easier for you guys.
Yeah. So we're going to drop all of her other names and just call her Chantal. Chantal, like Madonna.
Yeah.
So Chantal is the CEO. She is an executive coach. She is a Masters of Wisdom and Meditation teacher, which is how I met her. Each month, all of us meditation teachers get on a live call and meditate together and meet one another and support one another. And this is how I encountered this amazing exotic woman and all of the great things that she's going to teach us today. She is an Oxygen Advantage advanced instructor, which is going to be a big part of our show today, learning how the right way to breathe. Who knew? She's also a Reiki master and certified acupuncturist. All the things that I love. We could stay here all day and talk. So how are you, Chantal?
I'm so good. I'm so good. Corona time has given a lot of time to stay at home for all of us. So I hope everybody else has rejuvenated also and not been too worried during the time.
Yes, exactly.
So for me, usually my life is full of travel, once a week in an airplane going somewhere. So now I've been at home in a very safe country. We have like 5 cases of Corona a day, 4 people at the hospital at the moment.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you when we started that we don't really talk about that virus on this show. The rest of the world is talking about it enough for all of us, so we're going to leave that one alone. But I do want to know your history and how you tell us about who you are and what brought you to this work.
Yeah, so just as a very little girl, I was really interested in therapies and healing, and I was really interested in how a human person thinks. That was really the key. So, I read everything about psychology I could find in a library and Eastern religions and parapsychology when I learned to read. And at that time in Finland, I was kind of far away from spiritual communities. Spirituality started to grow in England and United States. But, then when I grew to be an adult, my first professor was a therapist. I've studied, a dozen therapy forms, more or less. And I worked as a therapist for about 10 years and a teacher for empowering workshops and things like that. And then I decided to go and train in the business world. And I learned, I have a business degree also, but I learned everything on the way. And now I have 2 companies, one in Finland, other one in Italy, offering executive coaching and a lot of training, different kinds of skills in the business world. And at this beautiful time in my life, it is time to start stepping back into my healer girl roots, which I so love. And that's why I want to start also talking more publicly about these things that are my true passion, like meditation, yoga, healthy food, healing, breathing.
I'm just going to not talk very much.
Okay, I don't hear that echo at all here.
You don't hear
so
it?
You sound fine.
All right, it might be here in my system, so Tammy will let me know if it's weird on our broadcast. Welcome, Tammy. Thank you for being here. All right, so tell me, first of all, introduce us to the little breathing test that we're going to do to see how, I don't even know how to say it. This is so new to me. I'm just like completely fascinated.
Okay. So all of you guys who are out there behind the screens, prepare yourself, which is that now while I talk for about, 4 or 5 minutes about breathing, during this time, relax. totally relax, put your body at ease, sit comfortably, and calm down. Because when we're going to do the test, we're going to hold our breath for a little while, but we're not going to do it yet. I'll give you some time to settle down.
Okay.
So
Settling.
anyways, today we're going to concentrate on breathing, and how breathing has such a great effect on your health, how it can truly enhance your health, create perfect health for you, and also perfect peace of mind, because breathing is also key to spiritual alignment with your soul. We have 3 ways to nourish ourselves. We can eat good food. You can ask Lauren about that, which we all should, and we all need a bit different food because we're different body types and, a bit different in our makeup and health situation and things. We can drink, hydrate ourselves good. And the third thing that we nourish ourselves is all this plentiful air that we're breathing. And actually, the breath, the air, is the one that we can be without the least amount of time. So why not pay attention a little more on how you use this most important nourishment of your life in your life, which is the breath. I think this is so amazing that it is a shortcut of everything to enhancing your health. The way that we breathe can affect everything in your lives, not only in a bodily level, but also it can enhance your mental capacity, your emotional balance, and your spiritual alignment to your soul. In Ayurveda, they talked about and they still do, of course, but even 5,000 years ago, the oldest texts refer as prana, the breath, as the bridge between the body and the spirit. So breathing well before meditation, I think, helps you to get closer to your soul. So are you guys ready for the test? We're going to do a test, which is called pulse score. It is actually really easy. We're going to just measure how functional your breathing is. And this entails a short holding of your breath, which means that you take in, don't do it yet, but I'm going to explain first. So you're taking in a normal, smallest breath of air. You're exhaling that smallest breath of air, and then you hold your nose, and then you count. Maybe you have your phone. You can put it on. Maybe you'll take that too. We have time for that. And you will be setting a timer on so that you know how many seconds you're going to hold that. And while you hold, you sit gently. You can move the head a little bit and you can nod, which makes your body at ease so that it doesn't tense up when not breathing. And then we'll count, how many seconds you'll hold your breath comfortably. And when you feel the first nudging from your diaphragm or your throat makes a little move that now I do absolutely need to breathe, then you breathe in. So don't hold more than that. It's not necessary. This is just for exercise. Okay, ready to go? Let's do a pulse score test. Breathe in, normal breath in, normal breath out, and hold your breath. Move a little bit. If you're still holding, that makes it easier and gentler. You don't tense up, which stops that. Yeah, and most people probably have stopped your stopwatch. Okay, probably a few more are going on to 40 seconds, which is about now. All right, how did that feel? Kind of funny at first, didn't it?
Mine was 16 seconds.
That is good.
Is that good?
That is good.
Okay.
Yeah, for the first time. Yeah, and probably some of you did under 10 seconds, which is more like a dysfunctional breathing, but don't worry, we get medication for that. Breathing right techniques, very easy to do.
She didn't mean medication, she meant
Breathing techniques.
treatments, yes.
Yeah. that is our medication.
Yes.
It's just air. It's just breathing right.
Right, just air.
Taking care of you, yes. And then those of you who did like between 10 and 20, you're well on the way to good functional breathing. And it will take just a few weeks of practicing a little that you get up to about 25 seconds. And anything above 25 seconds is considered good functional breathing. And why does this measure it? It measures your ability to resist. It's called carbon dioxide that you're holding against. While you're doing the breathing exercises, you're going to grow your ability to continue breathing with a little less carbon dioxide, which will then balance oxygen and everything else in your body. I'll explain it to you in a little bit. But so what I would advise you to do, your first exercise after this, is to do your Bolt score test every morning. Then you'd have some other exercises that we're not going to go through throughout this podcast that you can do that will help you to get better breathing. This better breathing will oxygenate your tissues and your cells much better. The higher the Bolt score, the better oxygen goes all the way down, all of your cells, all of your tissues, and all the way to the very small blood vessels. If your breathing is dysfunctional, it's usually mainly from upper chest, and that means that the balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide doesn't go quite right. I'll explain you how. And then that means that there's not enough stuff, not enough hemoglobin carrying your oxygen all the way to the tissues. So we need to get the balance of these gases right.
Okay.
But I'll explain to you because there are probably some of you who want to know how and why does it happen, and then we'll just get into the practical techniques. Would that be right?
Yes, that is absolutely right. And so, just to sum up, what I understand so far is that what we just did was test how efficiently our body is taking and using oxygen. And
Exactly.
okay,
That was well put.
thank you.
Thank you for that. Better than I could have said. That is true. Yeah. So the first thing that we should start doing is shift totally from mouth breathing to nose breathing.
No mouth
That is
breathing.
the key, And I bet, when I found out about this breathing techniques, practicing yoga for 40 years and, always been interested in health and everything and spirituality. And I hadn't heard this information. And when I heard this information, my life has changed that very instant. I heard a half an hour podcast like you're hearing now, and that made me decide I'm going to do the certification training. That's it. I bought the book, I listened to the book, I did some exercises, I put myself in the certification training. My life is changed. Now I know how really to affect my health in a really big way.
So I don't
It's
know
what you
if
drink,
this
and now it's how you breathe.
right. I don't know if this is the right time for this question, but when I was reading over your notes, I have friends who have sleep apnea. Will
Yeah.
this are you going to go into that and into how?
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
so why don't I say a little bit about that? So those people who have sleep, you know, not restful sleep, just tossing and turning and waking up and going to the bathroom, snoring, or sleeping mouth open,
Mm-hmm.
just mouth open so that you wake up with a dry mouth or have to drink in the middle of the night, even. And those who have sleep apnea, they are all dysfunctional breathing and they can all be either healed or in a considerable amount helped with breathing.
Okay.
And I know many people that my teacher and other therapists and other our certified instructor have healed totally from sleep apnea.
That's
So you can do a lot for that. It's just breathing. It's just the most important nourishment you can take. Just do it right, and you can do so much for yourself.
awesome.
It is totally amazing. It is true. So the first thing is from nose breathing to mouth breathing. And if you would be able to walk outside or in the shops now and observe people, what you would see is that most people walk around mouth open. So they would be walking mouth open, which means that they're actually breathing through the mouth. Mouth, your mouth when you open it, it's kind of quite big a channel for air. Nostrils and nose, and oftentimes we're stuffed also. They're very narrow and small, so breathing through the mouth is so much more effortless. Breathing through the nose is 1.5 times more effort for you, work for you. So it means that always when people walk, or if they even do some little bit of, something doesn't even have to be exercise, they shift easily to mouth breathing,
Hmm.
which is very dysfunctional.
And what
So,
why
yeah,
is it why explain why it's dysfunctional, why it's not good to breathe through your mouth?
yeah. So your nose has little hairs and the filtering system. So all the air that comes through your nose is filtered through the whole filtering system. The airway goes behind your nose, through your throat, all the way to your lungs. All throughout this airway, there's a filtering system. It also it purifies and cleanses most of the viruses and bacteria that you're breathing in. So that's why, especially now, you should be breathing through the nose and only through the nose. And when you are breathing through the mouth, you are actually taking in too much air. We're going to talk about that too, also in a bit. You're taking in too much air, and the balance of the gases goes off. You're getting in too much air, which disturbs the carbon oxide and oxygen balance, and less oxygen ends up in your extremities and in your tissues and in your
That's
little cells.
so
Think
that
about that.
yeah.
When I heard that, I mean, like, oh my God, why did I not know this 20 years ago? It is actually so that all the old Vedic texts, they talk about the same thing, that if you breathe, you should be breathing through the nose. And small breathing, silent breathing is good breathing. And yoga, the first 20 years I learned yoga, before power yoga or Ashtanga came into the Western world, nobody talked about big breathing in yoga class. We were all breathing deep, small, silent, and in balance to our needs of air, not big. By the way, one big in breath and big breath out will empty 30% of your oxygen reservoirs from your tissues.
Not
This
good.
is scientific knowledge.
Yeah, so we don't want that. So there's never a good time for these deep cleansing breaths, is what we call them. So tell me more
Well,
about
yeah, you can do them sometimes, but I would say, like, it feels kind of good. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. So go ahead and do them sometimes. But if you do like 95% of your time nose breathing and not too much, we're going to learn 2 exercises for that. That would be good.
that.
Natural breathing, it's regular, it's small. There are pauses after the exhalation. Natural, good functional breathing is slow. The optimum is 6 breaths per minute. Most of you guys out there are breathing 15 to 20 breaths a minute.
Mhm.
So if you practice slowing down your breathing, then you can get down to somewhere like 9, 10 breaths a minute, and in relaxation to 6 breaths a minute quite easily. It's not that difficult at all. And
And,
that is optimal. Also in Ayurveda, they talk about 6 breaths per minute. That is the optimum to nourish the body. It doesn't have to be slower than that, but shouldn't be faster than that. And
and
then
when you think about
functional breath is driven by the diaphragm. It comes from the diaphragm. It's not upper chest. It goes to the diaphragm, out from the diaphragm. Diaphragm muscles, it's like an umbrella. That's the muscle that when you breathe in, it goes out, tenses. When you breathe out, it relaxes. The movement is like an umbrella going in and up.
now that you point this out, it makes perfect sense because a slow breath, you breathe in the air, and then your body has a chance to go, okay, I want to do this with this, and this with this, and this with this, and to process what you've breathed in instead of just here, grab what you can, and then I'm going to breathe out, and we're going to start over again every other breath. That it you would think it would be common sense, but I never heard of this. I never even thought of this. It's going to change my life too, Chantal. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm, yeah. So there is in our oxygen advantage training, we talk about this, and you can also have a lot of effects both for your health and even your aerobic and anaerobic capacity if you want to sport around or do yoga with 20% less breathing, ventilation. With a little bit of exercise, you can develop your breathing muscles. And also there are methods called Buteyko method, which is also and other methods also that use the same information for healing asthma and other breathing ailments.
Okay.
I'm not specialized in Buteyko, but I'm specialist in the oxygen advantage.
Let me ask this question that just occurred to me. What about when you are doing like a really, which not me because I don't work out this way, but if you're doing just a really intense workout, like you're running, you're sprinting, you're lifting very heavy weights, high impact aerobics, all of those types of things where you are gasping for air is what's happening when we do that.
I know what you're asking. What you're asking. So our advice is that for recreational sporters, like you and me, and everybody else who is in competitive sports, do everything through the nose.
Okay.
Everything, even running.
So
and if you start practicing now, and with different exercises, you need a few more than the ones that we do today. But with these exercises, in about 4 months, you can do everything through the nose. First, your ventilation isn't quite enough. You have to exercise your breathing muscles a little bit. But then in about 4 months, you'll be able to breathe through the nose, running, exercise, lifting heavy weights, everything. And that's going to be okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And also some of the oxygen advantage coaches that work with sports, they do train competitive sports, fighters, runners, people who do really heavy work, and they learn how to do that. American sprinters, also women. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
That's how they do it. So, hey, let me know before we do some exercises. I'll tell you a little bit about these funny gases, how they operate, and then we can do some exercises. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. So there are these interesting gases that we need to look at. First, oxygen and carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is like the exhaust fume that you've heard that is told that it's bad, but it's really actually critical for your health. It's really good. So most people believe that when they're breathing in more, you get more oxygen in, but actually it's vice versa. So if you take big breaths, the ratio is wrong and you can't use the oxygen right. So the process goes so that if you breathe adequate breath, not too big, not too small, then you will have the bond between oxygen and hemoglobin in your body is balanced so that hemoglobin can carry all the oxygen into the cells and tissues. You need adequate amount of carbon dioxide for that. If you breathe big, you breathe out all the carbon dioxide, and then oxygen cannot be transported into the lower extremities and tissues and cells. So that is the thing. So breathing adequate, small enough, exercising your breathing muscles with actually smaller breaths than your normal breaths is what we are going to do, which is actually vice versa what people think that they should be doing. And by the way, those of you who are there are saying, what is this? This is something totally different, that I don't believe that. Everything that I'm saying is actually totally scientifically proven. And in the notes for the podcast, you will find some links. You can go to the Oxygen Advantage pages and you will find some scientific information there. But also there's a lady called Robin Rothenberg who has written a book called Restoring Prana. She has studied both. She's a yoga teacher for 30 years, I think, 40 years. And then she's also an Oxygen Advantage teacher. So she's combined those two. And she has found out that in all the old Vedic texts, there's the same information, how we should be breathing. It's no different than this.
Okay.
So amazing.
Wherever you're watching or listening to this, just look below and we'll share all the links to everything that we talk about so that you'll be able to access all this information.
Yeah. Then one more thing. When you're breathing in through your nose, you're harnessing nitric oxide, the third important gas, into your nasal cavity. From there, it will travel to your lungs. Nitric oxide is the one that detoxifies all the viruses and bacteria and all the impurities from the nasal cavity and all the way to your lungs. It's also a happiness hormone. I, you know, I mean, it's important. Breathe
Nitrous
through your nose. If you do
oxide.
one change after this, breathe through your nose, day and night.
Always through nitrous oxide. Isn't that the laughing gas that the dentist gives you?
Hmm?
Yeah. Okay.
What did you say?
The dentist gives you interest. Isn't nitrous oxide what we call it laughing gas? I'll have to Google
It
that.
it is not quite that, but if you cook with gas, if you cook with gas,
Huh?
some of the advice of the healing methods that we've heard of the V thing that we are not talking about,
Uh-huh.
I have heard in international news that those people who have trouble with their lungs should be standing by their gas stove because the nitric oxide will be released a bit from the gas and that will help their lungs.
Interesting. Very
Yeah,
interesting. Okay.
isn't it?
I
It's
apologize that
like a side view
I
from
keep
there.
interrupting you because I have so many questions. I'm so curious about all of this. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So what are the benefits you can get with this breathing exercises? So let me just list a few. Improve sleep and energy, of course. You know, who doesn't want to be energized? I do.
me too.
Fast recovery from stress. Who knows what is stress? Have you ever had stress? That's a joke, of course. You know, and endurance during stressful situations and times. We all need that. You know, there are going to be times in our lives that we really need good endurance. Then reduced breathlessness during exercise, heightened aerobic capacity, anaerobic capacity. I mean, this is all linked to staying forever young, which I'm going to do
Me too.
forever,
Yeah.
forever. Yeah. Then help with asthma, snoring, sleep apnea, and even chronic sinusitis is helped with the breathing exercises.
Okay.
Okay, the sun's coming up. Are you seeing me? Okay.
Yes, I
This is
see.
a
Yes, you
yeah,
look
it's okay.
lit in brilliant white light like an angel. It's
Okay, okay, thank you. Yeah, so these are the benefits that you get. And you know, if you like meditation, you know, if you do light breathing that we're going to do next before your meditation, what actually happens that in your meditation you will quicker deep kind of dip into a place of deep breath, deep peace and deep connection with yourself. And actually, those of you who are meditators, you know this that when you meditate, towards the end of your meditation, if it's, you know, something like 20, 30 minutes, you notice your breath gets really, really small, doesn't it? That's the same thing we are doing. We're practicing making the breath really small so that we are exercising the breathing muscles. We are learning to tolerate carbon dioxide hunger, oxygen hunger, we're exercising our muscles for that. And actually, that naturally happens in meditation. So, if you do these exercises just before meditation, your meditation will also carry you closer to your spirit and soul.
I can't wait to try everything you're about to teach us.
And it, you know, produces overall calmness in your body. And one more thing, I think the autonomic nervous system is good to mention because your autonomic nervous system is the one that keeps you relaxed and calm and helps you to recover from all stress. So if you are in stress, you are reactive. Your fight and flight reactions are going on and on and on. So if you learn to breathe right, that calms your autonomic nervous system that gets hold of these stress reactions and balances them out so that you recover much quicker.
So those
It
of
is
us,
amazing.
even though I didn't know all of this oxygen stuff, I was still doing good by meditating and accidentally learning
Yep.
good breathing. Okay, very
I
good.
think because I'm a meditator, I think that was and doing yoga also. I think that was for me developing in my exercises. These breathing exercises were pretty quick for me. But I have seen other people that I've trained. I do small groups and things, so they learn pretty quickly, and they can see, you know, in a few weeks they can see quite good advancement.
I'm excited
Yeah.
about it. Okay,
So
are we ready to learn some? Are we ready
yeah.
to learn
Hey,
some
one more
exercise?
aspect I would like to say about the spiritual breathing,
Okay.
because now I've just talked about health, you know, and mental clarity, emotional stability, and spiritual connection with your soul is really truly one aspect of this breathing. And in the Vedic texts, the yogis have used breathing as this bridge to their soul or their higher self, you know, or the or you know, wherever they've been, heavens somewhere where We ordinary people don't quite reach. But you know, when you do breathing, this will also help you really to align much better with your soul. It brings you closer to your soul. So you can do breath watching for that, which is one of the exercises we're going to do last, which means that we're going to calm down and do a little mindfulness exercise listening to our breath.
Okay, sounds great.
So, yeah, but shall we do a breathe light exercise now?
Let's
Okay.
do.
The instructions are going to be in your notes. So do this exercise 2 times daily and however long you want to take. Maybe 5 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, something in between. If you can do 20 minutes twice a day, right in the morning and just before going to bed, that would be optimal. And you will, and before meditation, 10 minutes, of course. Before meditation, 10 minutes. And then when you meditate, you don't think about your breathing, you take your mantra, concentrate on that. Probably have that. So, results that you gain, with this light breathing is that you improve your oxygen intake and delivery, harnesses this nitric oxide, and reduces your sensitivity to carbon dioxide. All of the things that we need for better functional breathing. So, let's begin. Let's begin. If sitting, imagine a kind of string gently pulling you upwards so that you're relaxed. Imagine and feel the space between your ribs widening. With your mouth closed, jaws relaxed, breathe normally in and out through your nose. Normally, not bigger, not smaller. Okay, place other hand on your chest and the other one on your abdomen, your tummy or diaphragm, so that you can feel that the air goes down to the diaphragm and doesn't raise the chest. Feel the slightly cooler air entering your nose and feel the slightly warmer air leaving your nose. Now start taking in a little smaller breaths than you would normally do, like 70% of the air. Keep the rhythm the same, but breathe in just a little less air, and then breathe out. And when you follow your breathing, breathe in and bring a total relaxation to the body at the top of the breath, and then breathe out. And continue this way. Breathe in light, a little less air than normally. Bring a total relaxation in the body, and then let the air flow out. When you're breathing in, that is the active part of the breathing. And when you're breathing out, it is the passive relaxation part of breathing. Breathing in, breathing out. Your breath should be so light that it's quiet and still. You shouldn't be hearing your breathing. Don't tense your stomach or reduce your breathing. Your goal is to feel a little bit of air hunger and learn to tolerate this little bit of air hunger. Breathing in a little less air than you would feel you need, and then breathe it out. If in between the breaths you feel that you really have to take in a bigger breath, you're maybe trying a bit too hard, so make the breath just a little bit smaller so that you are bringing in air a little less than normal, but still so that it feels very comfortable to you. Beautiful kitty loves the breathing. Beautiful. Okay, let go. How did that feel, Lauren?
I loved it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did it feel uncomfortable to get a little less air in?
A little bit uncomfortable, but like a good uncomfortable, It's like how you know it's working?
That's just the right amount. So when you do this exercise, you need to feel a little of the air hunger, but not too much that it makes you gasp air, because then you kind of destroy the effects of the exercise.
Right. So if you start to feel like desperation or lightheaded or anything like that, then you're trying too hard and
Yeah, that's exactly so.
ease up a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
awesome. So
but that's good. And
say
this exercise will also calm you down very much, so you will be very relaxed and feel everything is so nice after that.
now how often we should do this exercise?
Daily, twice, morning and evening. Evening just before going to bed. That is the best time. That will also make you sleep better in the night,
Okay,
and also help you not to breathe through the mouth if you have that habit.
Mhm.
If you know that you
how do we know? If I don't think that I breathe through my mouth when I sleep, but I'm asleep. So how would I know?
thank you for that. So we advise to tape your mouth during the night.
Tape it. Okay.
Yes, we do. So you could, for example, we have this myo tape that goes like around the mouth that kind of helps it to keep closed. But you don't even need to use that. Sometimes I use just normal micropore 3M micropore tape, like the one that you can get from pharmacy. I take a little stamp size piece and I put it just in the middle of my lips. Because I mostly breathe through the nose, but sometimes I want to test, am I actually breathing through the nose, or am I partly during the night breathing through the mouth? The signs that you would be breathe from through the nose would be snoring, sleep apnea, or dry mouth, or waking up in the middle of the night to have to go to the bathroom. So if you do any of those, try tapping your mouth. It is not so dangerous as it sounds like. It's actually quite comfortable that, when you do that and you notice that maybe once or twice, in the night, you nudge, maybe you try to kind of open your mouth. But then when you just try that once or two nights, it goes really easy and you can continue doing that. That is the quickest way for helping you to do nose breathing day and night, because that is the most important thing to do.
Interesting. Okay. This is such a rich episode. I've got this
Mm,
list of people in my head that I'm gonna share it with when we're done.
yeah. So, shall we do another exercise?
Yes, let's
Mhm.
do.
We're gonna do a exercise that is called. This is called. How did I call it in my notes now? This is small breath hold exercise. This is called small breath hold exercise, and this is excellent for exercising your lungs throughout the day. And it doesn't take a lot of time. You can do it while you're answering an email, while you're listening to somebody talk on the phone. You can do it while you're washing dishes in the kitchen, any place. No worries. So, and it takes just 2.5 minutes at a time. And you could do it like 6 times a day, 2.5 minutes at a time. And this includes small breath holds. And the benefits of this is, again, introduces air hunger, gentle practice, harnesses the nasal oxide, and then the key thing is it calms you during stress. So if you're really stressed, you have a deadline at work and you're working, and then crazy people on the other side of the internet or intranet at your company, and you're working away and you're really stressed. If you want instant calming and instant recovery of your energy, just do this exercise. It truly works. I've done it too. It's also emergency exercise for panic attacks, asthma, and hyperventilation.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Hyperventilation is actually breathing too much. But if you breathe too much, anybody could hyperventilate too.
Right.
So how do we do it? We will just sit down again. Take a normal breath in and normal breath out through the nose, into your nose, hold for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in and out. We're doing it for 10 seconds. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Be ready to hold. Breathe in, breathe out, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now breathe in, 2, 3. We are going to do it for 10 seconds. And then again, we're going to breathe normal breath in, normal breath out. And we do it now. Breath in, breath out, and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Breath in and out, and normal breathing for 10 seconds. And once more. Breathing in and out, and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, and in. And why do we breathe in always after the breath holds? There is nitric oxide that's gathered while we are holding the breath. That is the good stuff, and we want it all into the lungs. So that's why we do that. So always breath in after any breath hold.
Awesome. You said 6 times a day.
So easy.
And again,
6 times a day. Hold for 5, breathe for 10, hold for 5, breathe for 10, for 2.5 minutes. If that's too much, hold for 3.
Okay.
It's really easy.
I love it. I think it's wonderful.
I
feel clearer. My brain feels clearer.
It's true. You just do it once and you notice what happened. Yeah, it's true. It's so. I taught this to my sister who has bad asthma, and she also is in a very stressful corporate job, and she uses it now every day throughout the day to get herself calm within the madness of the corporate world.
This is so incredible. I have so many loved ones with anxiety and with panic attacks and with asthma and with sleep apnea and with snoring and with all of these things, and I'm so happy to have this gift to bring them and this new idea to bring to them and this awesome video to share with them. So again, wherever you're listening or watching, if you look below, we're spelling out all of these exercises for you in the notes so that you can start practicing them. The websites that Chantal has shared with us has some videos and some more information, some scientific information to back up all of this. And, words don't teach. But when you try these things out and just try it for yourself and see how you feel, see how much more connected with your spirit and your source you feel when you begin to be connected with your breath and being light and easy about it and not trying so hard. I love it. It's right along the lines of everything that we teach at Be Happy First is that, life's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to feel good. And so your breathing should most definitely be light and airy and effortless.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything you want to add before we wrap it up for today?
Well, just remember L, S, D, light, slow, and deep. So nasal breathing, breathe into your diaphragm. That's the deep thing. And keep it slow. Count it sometimes, when you're naturally breathing without doing anything to it. If it's close to 6 times, I don't think it is. If it's close to 10 times in a natural everyday setting, that is good. If it's like more than 15, you need these exercises, definitely, but everybody needs them. After your meditation or breathe light exercise, your breathing might be down to 6 breaths a minute, even if it's just natural, and that's perfect. You can learn a lot more from the Oxygen Advantage site. I'll also post a link to Robin Rothenberg's site. Her site is Essential Yoga. I'll write it to you in the notes. She has a lot of information. And you can contact me through Instagram at Chantal. I don't have a website for this yet. I only have this for a corporate training site. So that's interesting to you. This is the way to contact me. And at some later point, we can organize, if there are people who are interested, we can organize some small groups with very, very easily if there are people who want to learn more about the breathing.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So I of course just thought of another question. Would there be any benefit to, like, during your meditation or before anything, consciously on purpose breathing 6 times a minute, like timing your breath so that it would So that would
Yes.
be an okay exercise to do. Okay.
Yes. So I do always before my meditation nowadays, I will do 10 minutes of the breathing. Um, I will do the light breathing, as I said, but I also concentrate of taking it all the way down to the diaphragm so that I know my diaphragm expands and chest doesn't when I breathe. And then I slow it down so that it goes only 6 times a minute. I usually count like 4 in, 6 out, 2 hold, 4 in, 6 out, 2 hold. And we could practice these later how to do them. It's so easier to do one exercise first and learn to do the light breathing first, then do separately the deep breathing and separately the cadence, the rhythm, and then combine them all.
Okay.
But anyone of you who is meditator and experienced breather anyway, you can start already with this advice to practice combining light and slow deep breathing.
That's I'm in the deep end, of course, already. I'm like, I want to do all the exercises right now. Okay. All right. Thank you again for being here with us. Again, you can find Chantal on Instagram at Santu Chantal. You can see her name. That's right there on the screen. If you want to make a quick note of that, but of course we will put that in the links as well. And I'm going to be back on Thursday to talk about I don't know what. We'll see. Be sure and join me for that. And I'm really grateful that you were here. I hope that you enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe wherever you are. Be sure to like the Be Happy First page, follow Santu Chantal, stay in touch with us, and stay in this work with us as we learn and grow together. So I'm going to see you soon. In the meantime, remember that happiness is a choice. You can always choose to be happy first. I'll see you soon.